Renowned coach Steve Kerr made statements that upset player Jonathan Kuminga. The Warriors have been making offers to re-sign Kuminga for several days without reaching an agreement. Besides Kuminga having relationship issues with coach Steve Kerr, the player wants to earn more money. Therefore, the player himself has stated that he wants to leave the Warriors. We're coming to the end of the NBA offseason, yet Jonathan Kuminga remains an unrestricted free agent. The Golden State Warriors have struggled to find an agreement that suits both parties. According to ESPN's Anthony Slater and Shams Charania, some comments made by Steve Kerr regarding the difficulty of finding the right role for Kuminga have become somewhat of a roadblock. In negotiations, Kuminga's side has regularly referred to some postseason comments where Kerr highlighted the difficulty of fitting Kuminga next to Curry, Butler and Green for heavy minutes and expecting to win at the highest level, Charania and Slater reported. It's proof to them that the basketball fit is less than ideal for the trajectory of Kuminga's career. Kuminga has struggled to cement himself within Steve Kerr's rotation in recent years. Therefore, he's wise to want assurances over his role and his future in the Bay Area before signing a new contract. Unfortunately, both he and the Warriors clearly know those assurances can't be provided in good faith. After all, Kuminga seems to fall in and out of favor with Kerr as the season progresses. What did Steve Kerr say earlier this summer? In a May 21st appearance on the TK Show podcast with Tim Kawakami of The Athletic, Kerr explained why Kuminga has experienced an inconsistent role and the challenges he's faced trying to fit the explosive forward into his rotation. All I do is I coach the team every year and try to put the puzzle together the best I can, Kerr said. It's a tricky one because Jonathan obviously is gifted and wants to play a bigger role and wants to play more. And I've been asked to win. Right now, he's not a guy who I can say that I'm going to play 38 minutes with the roster that we have, doesn't mean he's not a really good player. Kerr continued. Doesn't mean he's not talented. It just means the fit. And with the roster that we have, it's tricky, we can talk about spacing, usage rate, and all that stuff. But the game is about puzzle fitting. It's about 5 guys complementing one another at both ends of the floor. So all I do is, I try to win. This is likely the discussion Charania and Slater were referring to in their above report. Warriors recently offered Kuminga improved deal. During the same report from Charania and Slater, it was revealed that Golden State has extended a new and improved contract offer to Kuminga. The new deal is reportedly worth $75.2 million over 3 years. The Warriors have strengthened their effort. Late last week, Dunleavy offered Kuminga a 3-year, $75.2 million deal with a team option in the 3rd season, sources told ESPN, Slater, and Charania reported. Dunleavy and the Warriors are requesting the same structure as their previous proposal on the 2-year, $45 million framework, a team option on the 2nd season and a waiving of the inherent no-trade clause, sources said. Kuminga is reportedly against signing a contract with a team option. He, logically, wants to have control of his own future. Therefore, he's unlikely to ink the new deal on offer. Instead, Golden State continues to run the risk of him inking his qualifying offer. Time is ticking down for Golden State and Kuminga to reach a deal. It will be interesting to see how this all plays out. However, the front office must get an agreement over the line. After all, Mike Dunleavy Jr. still needs to round out the roster. The Kuminga situation has taken up far too much time already. Hopefully, the Warriors will find a resolution in the coming days. Golden State Warriors make new $75 million offer to Jonathan Kuminga. The Warriors are trying whatever they can to get Jonathan Kuminga to sign a new contract, and their latest offer is upwards of $70 million. Ox plus Freeman gets kicked in the face. The Golden State Warriors have been the most successful NBA franchise of the past decade. Since 2014, they have won 4 championships, but those days seem long gone. Stephen Curry is getting older, Draymond Green isn't who he once was, and Klay Thompson is in Dallas. To be fair, the Dubs tried to prepare for this. Drafting James Wiseman and Jonathan Kuminga was supposed to be insurance for the future. However, Wiseman didn't live up to expectations, and now things have soured with Kuminga to the point that they cannot get him to sign a new deal. The franchise has been at a stalemate with the 22-year-old all offseason long, and many would have simply let him leave by now. However, owner Joe Lacob is personally involved in keeping Kuminga around, and the latest update is that the player has a renewed offer in front of him. The Warriors have strengthened their effort. Late last week, Dunleavy offered Kuminga a 3-year, $75.2 million deal with a team option in the third season, sources told ESPN, Shams Charania reported. That's $48.3 million guaranteed in the first 2 seasons and basically the same per-year salary as fellow restricted free agent Josh Giddey. This is a sizable deal for Kuminga, but it seems the team option is what's stopping him from signing it. It might make sense for him to agree in any case. The contract will make him extremely tradable going into the 2025-26 season. It seems like this situation might get resolved soon. Why Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green aren't agitating over Jonathan Kuminga saga. Jonathan Kuminga's restricted free agency has kept the Golden State Warriors busy this offseason. Despite Jonathan Kuminga being the Golden State Warriors' number 7 overall pick in the 2021 NBA draft, the organization cannot seem to trust him for the long term. The prolonged stalemate is the result of the Warriors trading for Jimmy Butler last season, as it led to head coach Steve Kerr getting confused over Kuminga's role on the team. With Kuminga and the Warriors not being able to agree on a new deal, this has also prevented the team from making other additions to the roster. So, does this saga agitate the trio of Butler, Stephen Curry, and Draymond Green? Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green are in on the Golden State Warriors strategy. With a core that is in the twilight years of its career, it's hard to imagine the trio isn't getting unsettled with the lack of moves made by the Warriors. However, according to NBA insiders Anthony Slater and Shams Charania, the Warriors trio is calm right now. The Warriors have planned to at least use their taxpayer mid-level, Al Horford is the target, and have had strong discussions with veterans DeAnthony Melton, Gary Payton II, and Seth Curry, sources said. It's why Curry, Butler, and Green are not agitating behind the scenes. They know the strategy, sources said, and have approved that anticipated result, the ESPN reporters wrote. In theory, adding the likes of Al Horford and other veterans will drastically improve the Warriors' championship ambitions next season. But it won't come to a reality unless Kuminga blinks first and agrees to sign a team-friendly deal this offseason. Why the Golden State Warriors are hesitant to give Jonathan Kuminga a massive deal. Last season, Kuminga averaged 15.3 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 2.2 assists per game for the Warriors while featuring in just 47 matchups. He did so while averaging 24.2 minutes per game. Keeping that in mind, if Kuminga were to be given additional minutes, his numbers should spike further. So, what's the roadblock in the Warriors engaging in a long-term deal with their young star? While the NBA gathered in Las Vegas for Summer League in July, Turner presented Dunleavy and John Phelps, the Warriors' cap executive who helped concoct the 1+1 offer to Kuminga, with a 3-year, $82 million offer, including a player option, sources said. The Warriors have been hesitant to go that rich for that long for Kuminga, showing a concern about how the deal might age, sources said, the reporters claimed. In addition, the Warriors are also seeking cap flexibility in the summer of 2027. The Curry, Butler, and Green contracts all expire after the 2026-27 season. At the moment, they project to have clean books and flexibility in summer 2027, Slater and Charania added. In simple terms, Kuminga's massive demand doesn't align with the Warriors' vision post the departure of Curry, Butler, and Green trio. What should Jonathan Kuminga's next contract look like? Getty Images. One of the marquee storylines of the 2025 offseason is the stalemate currently taking place between the Golden State Warriors and restricted free agent Jonathan Kuminga. On Monday, NBA insider Shams Charania published an article detailing the discussions between the two parties. From reading it, which you should if you haven't already, it seems there is a huge disparity between how Kuminga's camp perceives his value and how the Warriors feel about the situation. This makes sense as Kuminga has been one of the most polarizing players in the league since being selected by the Warriors with the 7th overall pick in the 2021 NBA draft. On one end, Kuminga averaged 24.3 ppg in the Western Conference semifinals in the Warriors' 4 games without Stephen Curry. But on the other, his lack of off-ball value and questionable defense made it hard for head coach Steve Kerr to fit him into the rotation when Golden State was fully healthy. This begs the question, how much should a player like this be paid? The ideal salary for Jonathan Kuminga. As Charania's report highlights, there is a lot more at play here than just the average annual salary included on the deal. There are team options and no trade clauses to consider, too. But for the sake of simplicity, we are going to forget about all that for a minute and focus on isolating his on-court value. As I've often referenced on this website, I have a formula that seeks to estimate a player's production value based on their estimated impact on winning and the amount the average win costs in a given season. To learn more about this formula, be sure to check out this article here. Anyway, if we assume that Kuminga performs the same way he did last season in 2025-26, he would be worth roughly $8 million. Coincidentally, that is also the amount of the qualifying offer that Kuminga can choose to take if the two parties fail to reach a resolution. However, that number isn't completely accurate, as it fails to account for the fact that Kuminga missed 35 games in 2024-25. Given his track record, he's never missed more than 15 games in a season before that. This isn't very emblematic of his durability as a player. If we use his 2023-24 performance instead, Kuminga looks more like an $18.2 million player in 2025-26. The issue there is that figure may be overstating his value to the Warriors next season. In 2023-24, Kuminga started 46 of his 74 games, something that probably won't happen in 2025-26, unless one of the big three misses a significant amount of time. There is also the issue that Kuminga is only going to be 23 years old and, in theory, is still yet to play his best basketball. So, using past numbers to try to project his future value could be severely underestimating his true impact on winning. What should happen? In an ideal world, I would take the two numbers we spat out earlier and offer him a multi-year deal with an average annual figure somewhere in the middle of that, so about 13 to 15 million per season. This gives Kuminga long-term security while allowing the Warriors to figure out what they want to do with him. Unfortunately, we don't live in an ideal world, and Kuminga's representation isn't going to look at numbers like these and concede that Kuminga shouldn't be paid like a rising star. This is why I believe, if the Phoenix Suns and Sacramento Kings are serious about organizing a sign-and-trade for Kuminga, the Warriors should do it in a heartbeat. If that possibility isn't still on the table, then I think the Warriors should sign Kuminga to the qualifying offer, duck the first apron, lock in Al Horford / Gary Payton 2 / DeAnthony Melton / Seth Curry, and let him test free agency in 2026. I get not wanting to risk losing a valuable asset for nothing, but it beats offering Kuminga a contract that likely won't age well. Warriors have interest in former NBA champion. Even though training camp is less than 2 weeks away, the Golden State Warriors are not done trying to upgrade their roster. The option they are most interested in is a former NBA champion. The Warriors are still targeting veteran forward Al Horford, according to Anthony Slater and Shams Charania of ESPN. Golden State still has its taxpayer mid-level exception, and hopes to use it on the former NBA champion. That would entitle Horford to just under $5.7 million next season. The Warriors' interest in Horford is so well known that it is one of the reasons Golden State's veterans are not complaining about the team's slow offseason. Horford is seen as such a likely addition that the likes of Stephen Curry and Draymond Green see him as part of the plan, even though he has yet to sign. Natisha Heedman with 18 points versus Golden State Valkyries. Horford has been on Golden State's radar since July, and the team seemingly had expected to have him signed by now. However, there are no indications that Horford is being courted by anyone else at this stage. If he plays in 2025-26, it is overwhelmingly likely that he will be suiting up for Golden State. Horford turned 39 in June, but can still play at a high enough level to contribute to an NBA roster. He averaged 9.0 points and 6.2 rebounds in 27.7 minutes per game for the Boston Celtics last season, and was still playing over 30 minutes per game in the NBA playoffs. The Warriors went 48-34 last season and lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference semifinals in 5 games. The team wants to make one last run at a championship with Curry, and is clearly doubling down on veteran leadership.